Okay,
I'm Jody Bush. Welcome to Jody Bush's Community House. Today is going to be a very interesting day. We have the Strawberry Jam duo, who for the last 20 years have been kicking some butt. And then we got Johnny Bittner. And I'm out of the picture right now.
That was the giant Jody Bush.
You're on.
At the bottom of Giant's Despair.
You know what's really crazy? I met Jody when I was 17 years old. I was a full-time bartender at Cook's Aladdin Lounge, which I know you played.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is that I was so young. I mean, I was 17. I wasn't old enough to tend bar. I wasn't old enough to drink. And I was a full-time bartender. But I heard a story, Terry, that your parents had to sign a permission slip for you to play at Cook's Aladdin Lounge. Huh? That true?
Here's my note.
I heard that.
Yeah, some kind of crap was going on like that. I forget the details now, but you got a good memory.
Well, you're just a little younger than me.
Yeah, to prove it, you know? Prove it, buddy.
I was 17 years old. You didn't make me sign one, right? Johnny Ferrato, you are from Berea, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, correct?
Yes.
And you came here in what year?
I just want to say I want to do all my responses in a Beatle accent.
Okay, please do.
Bloody Beatles.
Cleveland, Ohio, and
Oh, man.
I came here in about 2000. I lived there my whole life, the Cleveland area, northeast Ohio.
Yeah, as I said, I worked out of Berea, so I know that area, man. I'll tell you what, that became a fun place. You ever go to Put in Bay, Ohio? That place
Played
is...
there, yeah, I played.
That's fun. But anyway, one thing that I found out, Terry, I have a question for you. You're a bass player. You'll and our fans pretty much know what this means. You're not the best at what you guys do. You're the only ones that do what you do. And, you know, with the Grateful Dead.
If they let us do it.
But you started out as a drummer, not a guitarist, I heard. Is that correct?
Where'd you hear that?
Well,
It's
you know,
true.
I did a little bit of homework.
I was a better drummer than I am a bass player. I should have stuck with drums.
Well, I also understand you had to get a permission slip signed or something to play in the high school band at Lake Lehman.
Oh, you want it? That's a whole new story there.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. I came out of Catholic school, and it's a good story. When I was a little kid, I wanted to play drums so bad, right? I wanted to be Ringo. And they wouldn't let you start music lessons in the Catholic school I was in, which was Gate of Heaven School in Dallas, till you were in 4th grade. Well, here I am a 1st grader. I'm like, I'm playing drums. I'm doing something about this. I'm getting in that band. So my sister's a couple years older than me, and she was already in the band. And my mom tells her, take him down to see the music director so he'll stop bothering us about playing the drums. And the music director could play him, tell him, no, you're too young. I went down there. My sister took me down there. I was in 1st grade. I sold it. He let me in the band. He goes, this kid wants to play drums so bad. He let me in the band when I was in 1st grade.
When I heard that story, I said, I mean, we're from the same blood, same mud, and same part of the world in the back mountain.
Yeah.
And I also heard something else that was pretty much a rumor that you played in Las Vegas for an Eagles tribute band.
Oh, yeah, man. I was out there for like 4 or 5 years.
When was that?
From 97 to I came home in 02. End of 02, almost 03.
You know, I've known you all these years. I never knew
Yeah,
that.
I was out there. It was a great time. I'm lucky. It would have cost millions of dollars to do what I did. Like everywhere I went, I was in a 5-star hotel room. I saw the entire West. It was great. I miss it. I want to finish that little story though.
Go ahead.
About the Catholic school. So here I was a drummer, right? I started hardcore drumming at 1st grade, little kid. So by the time I went to Lehman, I had already been drummer for 6 solid years and meaning business.
Veteran.
So when I went into the Lake Lehman award-winning band, I didn't fit because I was way advanced over these guys. These guys all started in 5th grade. So I was already playing as long as their most advanced drummers or seniors. And I was only 5th, 6th grade. So Mr. Belauskas kind of didn't like me, because I was way far ahead of everybody. And I didn't want to sit here playing, I was like, come on, man, let me, do this. So it eventually landed that we kept bumping heads, me and Mr. Belauskas, and I quit, And I had all these teachers walking up to me, all these, we're so disappointed. We saw such a future for you. And all this. Like, I just didn't jive in there.
Right.
And Mr. Belauskas, award-winning. He's like the best band leader, marching band leader of all time, So here I am, hitchhiking one day to work years later. And back then you hitchhiked. Little tan Volkswagen pulls over. I get in, it's Mr. Malowskis.
He picked you
Hadn't
up
talked to him for
hitchhiking.
4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Picks me up hitchhiking, goes, how you been? And we're talking, and he's going, we came to an agreement because he goes, look, you didn't have really much to offer me. I didn't have much to offer you. He goes, I think you made the right move moving on to rock and roll and all that you wanted to do. And like we shook hands and we're best buddies from then on. It's pretty cool.
What a great story.
Terry stole his hubcap.
Yeah, well, Volkswagen.
Let me ask you, when you were playing at Cook's, you must have been, if I was 17, you were 15.
Yeah, man, I was playing all these clubs then.
What was the name? Was that Route 66?
Route 66,
I
yeah.
remember.
Good old Donnie Ronchetti and John Henry.
Well, the fun thing is being, when I was tending bar all those years at that age, I got to know all the musicians.
Yeah.
I can't play anything, I can't sing, but I just have a passion for it. And, I mean, Jody, I just found out he was 29 when I was 17, and him and Jano and Mikey Sabaraza and Lenny and those guys, they just always accepted me.
There's a lot of great musicians in this area, man.
And the rock scare, and how it was so funny back then.
Yeah.
Is like, it would be like side street, Friday night at Cook's, then you go to the Hearthstone pub, and it would be the side street there at Cook's, and then it would bounce and go back to Mickey Finn's, and from Mickey Finn's to the Glowing Stump, and back to the, it was, what a time.
You know what's really neat too about this area, Northeast PA, as far as musicians go? When I was out west playing, I was out in California, Nevada, every route there was Arizona, New Mexico, you name it, I played it out there. But the bands out there, they're not bands, they're like individuals out for themselves,
Yeah.
And they're enemies. Like bands around here, bands are all friends. We're all buddies. Like you said, Billy Space and Johnny Gonska. You know how much stuff those guys taught me when I was a kid? They didn't hold back anything. They're totally cool. I'd go down to their studio. They had a Johnny Gonska.
Right.
First time we ever recorded, we went down John Gonska's, and those guys are
Sunny
like,
California.
yeah, and they totally like. If you were out in California, they wouldn't be telling you anything. They wouldn't be helping you at all. They'd be stabbing you in the back. But here on the East Coast, the bands are a lot cooler. It's like more of a brotherhood.
It was funny with Jody and Billy Space, and I think it's okay to say this now, Jody, after all these years, but it was the biggest collusion there ever was. Billy would say, hey, look, we're playing here Friday night, you're in Mickey Finn's Saturday night. And then Jody would say, no, we're playing here Friday, you're playing here Saturday, because they just brought the talent.
Yeah, yeah.
And the coolest thing was, it's like our group and people watching, like we all knew everybody. And it was just like the best time of life. It really was. And it's crazy. I also understand you have an album, was Highway
420, yeah.
420, you cut an album, a solo album, wasn't it?
Yep, I did. And me and Johnny are going to do that too. We're planning on recording, getting together and recording again. I haven't recorded since then. I was like 10 years ago.
And then, didn't you also have another album you guys put out?
Strawberry Jam had Spread the Jam, but that's all the way from the 90s.
Was it that long
94, I think we put that out.
Well, when did Strawberry Jam start playing? I don't even know. You were
The exact date?
Route 66, then where?
It was like 87 or something like that we started.
Wow.
In that area. I got to tell you the truth, I don't really remember the exact year.
Yeah. Well, Johnny,
Then Johnny came out of Cleveland and
Yeah, I didn't realize
he glommed on.
It wasn't until
how did you guys meet?
well, it wasn't until when Jody, like, we decided, we mentioned to him doing this, and I was going, it's Terry and I've been doing the duo for 20 years. I mean, the duo,
Yeah.
20 years. That's a long time for just,
Doesn't seem like it
doesn't
either.
seem like it.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet? I mean, I don't even know.
Well, what happened was I moved here from Cleveland, from Ohio, and I won't go into why I moved here, but I moved here, and it was for a job, but the job didn't happen. So I'm looking for something to do, work, and I was always an electrician when I was younger. So I found an ad in the paper that said electrician needed, and I called the guy up, and he said, yeah, come on down to work at the Gateway Shopping Center. And Terry worked for the same, Terry worked there.
As electricians.
And as an electrician for the same guy. So we worked, it was Wimmer Electric. And
remember.
we did all the
You
electrical
probably know
work.
Scott Wimmer.
Yeah.
At the Gateway, we did all the work.
I know
For about a year, I think a year and a half I worked there. But and then we decided to do the duo. I think
Yeah, because we're
work was-
talking when you
Work
come
was
in.
slow. Oh, what it was, here's what happened was, we started talking about, he was a musician, I go, yeah, I go,
And 9/11 killed it for us.
right, and then
we're both back
'cause
as
I was
electricians.
I was playing. I was playing with. I was in a blues band in Ohio, So Mr. Stress Blues Band, you can look it up on the internet. They were like an icon there. And then I played with a 50s, like a show band. And then I played with the Platters, and for like about 6 months, yeah. And then I moved here, and then I had this deal offer to play in Japan at Disney. And so Terry and I put together this band. We were going to do Rock Around the Mouse.
Yeah.
And we were going to go Tokyo Disney, Euro Disney, California, Florida.
Yeah, they had like the next
We
5
were
years.
just
planned
going to go
us.
for 5 years playing this. This gig was like a gig from,
Yeah, it's like from heaven.
yeah.
It was paid great. You get
Everything-
your own apartment.
Yeah,
the
everything
works.
was great. And we had our passports, and we were all ready to go. We're all ready to go, and it's just, they changed their mind.
Yeah, Disney screwed us. It's like
Yeah.
we signed the contracts,
Yeah.
but we didn't have an out clause, but they did. So they called it. We go, we're all ready to roll. Give us our airline tickets. They call us up. The agent calls up.
It was like a couple weeks before we were going to go to Tokyo.
we were ready to roll, man. We were so
It's like-
psyched.
So work went, work was like the economy wasn't so good, so he was laying us off, and then I go to Terry. I go, well, even before that, I go, well, let's just do a duo.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like
no, you know what
nobody,
you said? It was really good. I'll never forget it. John goes, it's time to stop being artists and start being musicians.
yeah.
Get
So
your ass out there and play. Quit talking about
yeah,
it.
so I go, what, at that time there was nobody doing duos. Now everybody's a duo
Yeah.
and a solo artist.
Right.
Even the piano business are
Yeah.
going to duo pianos. You know what I mean? I have a friend, Lee Strubeck. He's a
Yeah.
musician. You guys know Lee.
Yeah.
So we just
And he
started.
said they
booking-
just changed that.
Yeah.
So we just started. I booked a couple of gigs, and we learned. We learned. First, we were going to do a Simon and Garfunkel tribute.
Yeah, called The
So
Graduates.
we learned all these Simon and Garfunkel songs, and we had them all down, and so that's what we had. And then we added songs, and we would extend the songs because we didn't have as many, so we would extend them to make them longer, so we could. Because at that time, the gigs were
double that
4
chorus.
hours, 4.5 hours. Now they're 3 hours, but
We did that.
yeah, we got them down to 3 hours.
We did. We worked on
Yeah.
this for years, bringing everybody down to 3-hour gigs
Yeah.
instead of 4.
Now they're trying to do 4 hours again. And it's like,
Yeah.
we all that time we put in,
Yeah.
being diplomats of the Luzerne County, or the, northeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I hope all these other young
musicians.
guys don't come in and
Yeah.
ruin it.
Well, they also tell me how many gigs you've done over 5,000.
At least.
Oh,
Well,
God.
you-
10,000.
10,000
Yeah,
shows?
if you add them up, because we did
We're really an average of at least
6
five days a week. We
You're
average.
still
5,
playing
but we used to
5
do
and-
7.
Yeah,
used-
7. We would
yeah.
do 10 gigs in 1 week.
Yeah.
Sometimes, shit like that.
So you go through 20 years and you add them up. That's
Well,
a
what
lot
I
of gigs.
like, there's a whole group of us that just love your music.
We don't
Thanks,
even
man.
remember. Sometimes we come to a place and go, because they changed the name, we go, yeah, that's right, we did play here like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But they
Like, hey, this looks
changed it.
familiar.
Yeah.
And you know what's weird too? I want to tell you about when you're on tape all the time. We're like the old Strawberry Jam days. We taped every show, thousands
Grateful
and
Dead.
thousands of shows. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then you wouldn't know this because most people don't get their voice taped every day like I do. But when you do, you realize you listen to a tape from 20 years ago and you put it in and you're saying stuff to the audience between songs. You can't remember that at all. You go, did I say that? There's your voice saying it. You can't remember that at all. You would think that you would have a recollection of it, but you don't. And there's no way for the average person to know because they're not on tape all the time.
Right.
But I'm telling you, man, it blows me away. Like, I'll look at a tape from 25 years ago, and I don't even remember the club. It'll say, such and such Maryland done. I don't remember it. You think you would, but you really don't.
Yeah,
You know?
Terry will say, we played, remember that place we played for that guy? And I go,
No.
and I usually remember every
Yeah,
gig,
he remembers better than me.
but I can't. I remember names.
Wow.
Like I'll remember a guy's name 17 years ago. Oh yeah, it's Eric. I don't know why.
It comes in handy because you
Yeah.
forget a bartender's name and you go, Johnny, what's that
Yeah.
bartender's name? He remembers. You go, how do you do this? How do you remember?
That I can remember, but I can't remember the gigs.
But we did have big plans. We were going to try and do a Simon and Garfunkel tribute. We were going to call it The Graduates.
We did actually do one.
Yeah, we did it once.
At the college.
It was a
of
big success.
Misericordia, and it was like 800 people, 1,000 people. It was really intimidating because, I played for big audiences with a band, and you got 5, 6 guys to blend in with, But when it was just the two of us, it's like, well, you're on
Yeah.
a you're on this, you're under the magnifying
There's
glass.
nowhere to hide, man.
Yeah.
You're in
But
the
it's cool
spot.
too because you can hear every note you play.
Every note.
And you
yes.
know that people are actually appreciating it
Yeah.
instead of just getting drunk talking.
It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's
But to be
Strawberry
honest,
Jam Duo.
There's such, you're like I said, the only ones that really do what you do. I mean, some people, Lance plays some dead, and Miz is terrific. He's a new kid. He's wonderful.
Yeah. I haven't
really-
seen him for a while.
I'll tell you what, he was in Nashville.
old Mikey
and
Miz.
I'll tell you what, he's terrific.
Yeah.
But where do you get to see that kind of music? And it's our time, and that's
Yeah.
why when you play, you know who's there, and it's like the old days when Side Street and Rock Scare played. You knew everybody. It was the best.
And that was
time of
back in the
life,
days
man.
when like 2,000 people came out.
It was back then is if you got pulled over, they drove you home.
Yeah.
You had sex, you didn't die.
Yeah.
I mean, it was back in a time when it was just the best time to be alive, man. And
I feel bad for kids nowadays, man. I mean, I think the guys mine and Johnny's age, we caught the very tail end of it, where you had guys like Jody Bush out there and, Billy Space and Johnny Gonska, and then you had the Pete Scavone with Stonebridge and all that. They were like the last of the good times for bar bands.
Excellent.
And I
Agreed.
came in right at the end,
Yeah.
so I just barely caught the end with the big crowds.
Right.
And then after our band was only about 5 years old, we had big crowds. We were doing great. And then they started all the DUI stops and all that. And
it's just the bar business changed.
yeah, it's
I mean,
gone way downhill
you
since.
had what did you had? You had Staircase, you had the Hearthstone,
Yeah.
you had Cook's Latin Lounge, was a great rock club.
Yeah.
You had Mickey Finn's,
Right.
Jim Dandy's. There was a few
Yeah.
places, and
And these places were big. Cooks, that was gigantic
sometimes
freaking place.
There was 3 bars. Bobby, 17. I'll tell you a real quick story about the Grateful Dead. 1979. I'm in high school, man. I didn't turn 18 until October. I was young for my grade. He asked me to go see the Grateful Dead at the Rocks. I said, I'll go. And then at 2 in the morning, by the time you get home, it's 5. You pack a bag. You get in we got in this checkered cab. Remember, they went posting taxi. And we were driving for about an hour and a half. I go, Bobby, aren't we taking the long way, man? He goes, what are you talking about, Johnny? I said, well, the Ricketts Glen isn't this far, is it? He goes, John, we're going to Colorado. I'm 17. And we didn't come home for a month, you know what I mean?
Nice.
And end up following him back.
He
you
got
know?
kidnapped.
Oh, I know, man.
Oh, that's all. We have.
That was the best days.
There's some stories that we have. Most of them we can't tell, but some of them are they're memorable ones. That from gigs that we've done that things just don't happen in normal life. And it's
Life of a rock
Like John
star.
said, we can't tell half the stories.
Life of a rock star, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're still out there doing it full
It's not
time.
because they're like dirty or anything. It's just that you wouldn't get it if some of the stories, but they are funny, and yeah, it's I tell you what, like back then, you're starting a gig at 10:30,
Right.
and like now you're starting.
You're
your
finishing.
Gigs, your gigs are at 6,
And you're
7.
finishing it.
Yeah,
And
but
most
the
of your fans were in
demographic.
bed by 10 now, you know.
The demographic's the same. It's just that either most of them are they're either staying at home because they're retired too old to go out, or they're in rehab, or they're dead.
Yeah, we lose a lot of our fans.
Yeah, we lose a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. We said pretty soon they're going to literally come to the show and pass away.
Yeah, just drop dead
But
on
what
the
a
dance
place
floor.
to do it, though.
Well,
That's where I
can
do.
always say this as a fan, okay? You guys are terrific, man. You're always fun. We always know what we're going to get. And you talk to the crowd. It's like back in the old days I call them
Just like
Jody
Beatles
Old.
with the Beatles
The
accents.
bloody Beatles.
Bloody Beatles.
Well, you want to hear something on that subject? People come to hear us because we're like half a comedy act and half music.
Exactly.
And we talk with the crowd, they yell back, it's fun. And that's getting squelched by all these wimps out there crying. Like, oh, I'm upset, he said a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. We're getting harassed by club owners. We lost a gig. We had it 10 years or something like that. And we were packing this place up Lake Harmony every year, every Thursday for like 10 years. Packed. To the point where every other club on the whole strip closed on Thursdays because they knew that we would bury them. So somebody comes up and complains we were joking about, I don't know, Hillary Clinton or something. And they got rid of us because of that. We go, after 10 years,
They're lost,
bringing
guys.
The
thousands
world's
of people in-
changing, but we're not going to change it.
Yeah, I'm still telling jokes, and I don't care if it hurts your little feelings. Here's something we like to do. Watch.
It's been a long, strange trip.
It has, yeah. It's been
Now,
fun.
you guys going to play some more? Hey, Jody,
Absolutely.
these guys going to play